All right, Pat. The Twins are hanging tough after a win last night. 6 games over 500 and second place in the division. And I'm going to throw Declan's takeout from our Mackey and Judd episode earlier today. That this is, and I'm speaking on behalf of Dex, the best 1-2-3 top of the Twins rotation of his lifetime. So going back to the early, like 90, let's call it 92, 93,
Mhm.
somewhere in there.
Well, it's probably better than the 87 and 91 big three because it was a big two both times.
Yeah.
Les Straker was the third starter in 1 year, and Scott Erickson with a bad, with a bad, what was it, elbow then by the time he was trying to pitch in the World Series. And so, yeah, that's not outrageous to say. What I said yesterday is they got a 90-win pitching staff and a 70-win lineup. So we'll see which wins here. And the way the game is now, pitching might be the tiebreaker, right? But Joe Ryan, fantastic. They're getting him out of there. They're not letting him throw like 110 pitches or something. He's going 6, going 7. But man alive, big personality, great attitude. If he can get to the finish line, you know what? I hate to bring it up, and we're going to probably have new owners to handle this, but they're going to have to pay some of these chuckers here pretty soon, aren't they?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I would definitely lean into paying Joe first.
yes,
Probably got to pay
yeah,
him.
yeah, you got to pay him. You got Pablo for a couple more years. And let me bring this up. When Griffin Jacks was the quotes struggling early this year, he was their MVP last year. He should have been their MVP last year, not Willie Castro for God's sakes. But Griffin Jacks was their best pitcher last year, and now he had a couple of blips, couple of bloop hits, couple of walks, gave up some runs. He's now unhittable again.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
He's
he's nasty.
fantastic. I was 3 strikeouts yesterday, right? Wasn't it 3
It
Yeah,
strikeouts?
was.
struck
It
out
was
the
3.
side.
In
And by the
fact,
way,
real
where'd that changeup come from? My God, he's now that was not a key pitch for him last year. Now they can't hit it when he throws it. So there's another fella you should call in and say, it's always risky with pitchers, but you don't you want to get these guys a year or so before you really have to pay him, and get him on like a 4-year deal? Because what's he going into season 4 now?
boy,
Jax.
he's a free agent in 2028. So he still
Okay,
has
yeah, he still has some
three
time.
years of two and a
Yeah.
half years of team control
So they
left.
probably won't sign him until after next year, maybe. But anyway, what I'm saying is, the pitching's. Uh, I mean, the starting rotation is, the fifth starter. Okay, we're running Zebby out there now, and you might end up having to run Festa out there now. But I think the starting wise, top to bottom, when's the last time they were this good?
Yeah,
I don't know.
the only one I pushed back at was in 2006 before Liriano's injury.
Oh yeah,
You had Johan Liriano and then like a pretty good Brad Radke with a partially
yes,
frayed labrum, but the
yes,
other
that
the other
was.
two guys were
Yeah,
awesome.
well, if
So
he'd been healthy, but then again, you got to look back to the fact that that team, which was great, by the way, and should have done something, and they screwed up the whole season by having two hard drinking celebrations within 72 hours. The morons.
yeah,
They did it on Friday when they clinched the playoffs, and then they did it on Sunday again, and they played at noon Tuesday, and Johan got beat. And then instead of having Liriano, you had Booth pitching the second game. So
yeah.
that was the team that should have done something because they played great. Weren't they? I mean, Phil, weren't they? That was when they were 25. They were out in Seattle, and Morneau was doing nothing.
Hmm.
And that's when Gardy and Morneau had the big come to Jesus because Morneau had his drinking buddies down from the BC. They were getting beat by Seattle. and Morneau was raising hell, and he called him up, and he ended up being the MVP, right? He
Yeah,
ended up being the
yeah,
MVP.
I believe they were 26-33 when that
Yes,
conversation happened. They were like
yes.
7 games below 500, and
And
then
then they
boom.
put
Spot
Bartlett.
on.
Then they put Bartlett at shortstop and Nick Punto at third. Nick Punto at third, right? Didn't
Yeah.
change the infield because they had Tony Bautista and
And then they
Castro.
had
The
Juan Castro.
Juan Castro, and they changed it, and they were great.
So they wound
And
up
then
having Nick Punto was far and away the best defensive third, like better
yes,
than Scott Rowland. He was the best,
yes,
I think, if I remember right, the best
yes.
defensive third baseman, and he hit that year.
And
That
you look
every
back, I
other
was
year
going to
he would
say,
hit.
I was looking him up the other day for some reason. I don't know why. But I looked up, and all of a sudden, instead of 215, it was like 270 or 280 or something like that.
Yeah,
And, I mean, that was. So anyway, yeah, when they had Larry Santana and Liriano, you had two of the four best pitchers in the major leagues,
yeah,
so that's pretty good.
yeah.
And yeah, Radke was toughing it out by then. I wonder if Brad was taking a few injections that they didn't tell us about back
I'm
then.
guessing,
I don't know.
yeah. He
Yeah,
definitely had he needed shoulder surgery and then just kind of
yeah,
pushed it off
just kept
until
pitching. But anyway, yeah, I mean, obviously this team is. I thought it was one of the worst ever, but I just didn't pay enough attention to the pitching. I still don't like the lineup. It's an interesting character though is Harrison Bader. Like it looks like he's going to the emergency room and then he's playing like 2 innings later. So I don't know. He's
He's
quite an animated character, isn't he? Whenever
yeah.
he gets a reaction and he gets,
yeah.
I mean, like 2 days ago, how long is he going to be out? And then yesterday's back in the ball game. So
Yeah, he has a finger issue. He's out of the starting lineup for Wednesday again. So like he's
mhm.
got a ring finger issue. He took a pitch off his finger at the end of the homestand on Sunday. Pat, when I was in St. Louis for opening day, I took an Uber. I was staying far out, so I had a long Uber ride in, and my Uber driver said, "You guys are gonna love Harrison Bader. He's a ball player, and you can see why St. Louis he got that great ovation, and he had obviously a good career at St. Louis, won a Gold Glove there. But he's a ball guy, man. He wears the crop top in the locker
I
room. He's got all
know,
the
I know.
swagger on. He's got all the
Oh God,
colors.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
a
And
character.
I've noticed him with his post game interviews. It's like he's being put upon, and then he won't shut up. So it's like, do I really have to do this? And then
Okay, I
he's
guess
talking,
I'll
and then he's talking for 12 minutes. But yeah. Now, so what? So we're not gonna play Buxton again today, right?
Correct.
They're not.
I don't
They're
think he's
gonna.
past everything. He's traveling with the team. He's with the squad.
So
But
I
yeah.
would imagine they'll maybe when they get to Seattle, which they're not going to get there till that's a pretty long flight there, right? What
Hmm.
second longest in Twins history I saw. The longest was when they went from Fort Myers to Seattle to open the
wow.
season. But I was wondering they might get him. Maybe they'll get him out to the ballpark tomorrow afternoon or something to see if he can
Yeah.
play or not. I don't know if Seattle's home or not next on Thursday, so I don't know if they're playing or not. But yeah, I mean the total pitching staff. Okay, now beyond going to three starters, total pitching staff. When's the last time they've been this good?
I mean,
When you
I
make when
probably
you
go
look at
back to
this bullpen,
06
Oh,
again
six.
with
That
like Joe
bullpen was good.
Nathan and Wandering
yeah,
Cone. That's the only. Yeah, just one last thing on Griffin Jacks to your point. So he had a 10 ERA after the second blow up against Atlanta, and Bailey Ober had the same thing after his first start.
yes,
He's
right.
already got the ERA down to 4.38.
Hmm.
Since that outing, he gave up the 7 runs over the 2 back-to-back appearances. He has struck out just under 50% of the batters he's faced, and he's only
Yeah,
given up 2 runs since
Yeah.
April
mhm.
18th.
Yeah. And when he was the bad start, he had like bad things happen to him, like the four hopper that went past the mound and up the middle. And I mean, he wasn't great. He was getting behind in the count and he was giving up some hits, but it was never as bad as the numbers looked.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff is great. And they could, if they needed to, I mean, there was talk about it, this spring, this winter, that possibly turning him into a starter, but they
Yeah.
don't really need him to be a starter, and it's
No.
great. But I would rather have him. I mean, Duran is the last couple of times he hasn't been as good. He's been good this year, but I'd rather have Jax finishing than him. But then again, the eighth inning is just as important as the ninth when you're ahead. So what difference does it make? So
And then
anyway,
the guy that leads everyone in baseball in appearances is Louie Varland, who just
yeah,
continues to get into these close
yes,
games. And like he gave up a run last night, right? But
yes. Well, Louis wants to. Louis was. I want to be. This whole idea that he wanted to be a starter was. I mean, like, was okay. Louis, you want to be a starter? Fine. You're a reliever. Shut up.
yeah,
They didn't need him to make some starts because they were short of starters. But I mean, this is so obvious. He throws 100 once in a while, doesn't
Yeah.
he? He hits
Oh, yeah.
100.
Well, Pat,
Hits 100.
LaPanta is on the call this week, and he had the
Yeah.
note that Louis, that I think I heard this right. He's up actually living in Brainerd during the off season. So obviously he's from North St. Paul, but like I think he's spending his winter and his off season in Brainerd, and he's just still like throwing like as hard as he's doing crazy off season workouts, building up a bunch of strength.
Well, there's probably a workout. There are some shit buildings up there where they, have workout places. I don't know. He's probably up there ice fishing and doing stuff
Yeah.
like that. Who knows? I mean, he's a wrestler. That's all you got to know. He's the
That's right.
winningest wrestler in North St. Paul history.
yeah.
You give me a bunch of crazed wrestlers, I'll take on the world because they're all nuts. They're all the most. It is the worst sport for a human being to participate in. It's the no fun sport. If you win, first of all, if the guy over there is better than you, you're screwed. It's over. There's no place you can go. You're just going to get landed on your head. And 80% of them are sadists, so they're going to throw you around a little bit before they pin you. They're not going to do you the favor of just coming out and pinning you. They're going to make you torment you. They're nuts. And, you give me a relief. You give me a wrestler, I want him to be a relief pitcher. And that's what Louis is, and he's, I think Gus isn't in the big leagues though, brother Gus, is he right now?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't
he's having
think
arm
he's been
trouble.
bouncing around, but
Yeah, but
not sure.
yeah, I mean look at the bullpen, man alive. And then the lefty, they're missing him. Obviously, they could use a left. I mean, Cody Funderburk, what is he doing? What's the object? There's got to be some left-hander in America who's better, right?
It is kind of crazy that they've been skating by for years with the bare minimum lefties in their organization on their 40-man. It's kind of crazy.
I said to Falvey or somebody, I said, left-handers should file a class action suit against you guys for being discriminated against. Why don't you go get one? They got that pre-lip. Is he pitching yet or not?
Yeah, he's pitching. They're very
guy?
cautious with him. He's healthy, but they've been very cautious with him. But he's only going like one time through the order, at least in Double-A. I think they have now put off a little bit of the gloves.
Too. We could use
May
a
as well.
left-handed reliever. That's yeah, to score runs, man, they got to slap it together here and there. And now Correa being hot helps. All of a sudden he's went from being terrible early, but I don't know. The early in the year, the pitching wasn't great. They didn't hit at all, and their fielding was terrible for a while in the infield. They kind of tightened that up now because they. What's our Reusse thing though? What do we? I mean, I know Reusse is struggling, but does that mean I gotta watch? What's his name? The guy, Jason Bourne or whatever the hell his name is. The guy we got for free, Bride or Jonah Bride.
Jonah Bride.
What is he doing in the big leagues? He shouldn't even play for the Saints. We got him in the big leagues, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, it's my guy Jonah Bride too.
Jonah Bride.
Hey, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Deck.
I was gonna say, how about Cody Clemens though? For God's sakes, Pat. I mean, this is incredible.
It is
Pat, where does Kody Clemens rank on the Lou Ford index of random
I
players who are just
I was
unstoppable?
I was really, I was tempted the other day to go through 65 years because if I if I go look at the roster, then I am reminded because I've seen them all. But I was trying to think of the last guy who showed up and did this, and it wasn't. It was probably Lou, but then Lou ended up having. Right, didn't he have? One year he played 130 games or something like that. So he was hitting like third for a while. I don't
Yeah.
know, but this is they the great thing. He's a left-handed hitter, and he seemed like a good guy too. Because his daddy wasn't the easiest guy in the world to get along with. Even before the steroid stuff, he was
I
a tough guy to get along with. But
I do wonder, like, Kody Clemens has just been he's been a career minor leaguer for the most
mhm,
part. He's had various cups of coffee throughout. Like, he'll get into the big leagues for 100 at bats or whatever a year.
mhm.
He's just been kind of a utility fringe guy. But he was a third round pick back in 2018, and he was one of the best hitters in the Big 12 at Texas. He
Okay,
absolutely
yeah.
crushed it his last year at Texas. And so he was at one point a fairly highly touted prospect. He's 29. I guess my question is, with the bloodlines,
Yeah.
with his dominance in college, he's a third round pick. You do see late bloomers sometimes. Is this just a fun 2 month stretch, or did they
Yeah,
actually stumble into something here?
well, he could be a guy who hangs around. I don't know what they're doing here, but the other thing is he's in Philadelphia this year. He had six at bats. He played in 7 games. He got a walk and six at bats. I mean, he's there what, a month or something like that. Uh, so the fact that he hadn't had a chance to hit, and then he got here and he's starting to do, and the thing about him is he never gets small hits. They win games, they tie
Yeah.
games, there's something like that. And I told you guys this the other day though that when he hit the one and he looked at it the other day, the one that tied the game, and he looked at it, and I said to Dustin, I said, if his daddy was pitching, he'd get knocked on his ass the next pitch. And the next time he saw him, and Dustin was listening to the telecast and said Morneau just said the same thing.
Yeah.
That hey, by the way, let me throw a little bouquet to Justin. I think he's loosening up a little. I don't
Wow,
you think
wow,
he's
look at
getting
you.
don't you think he's getting a little bit? Once in a while, he goes off babbling and doesn't get to a point. But Provis has helped him a lot, I
It's the
think.
Provis. Provis is just
Yeah,
a really
Provis.
comfortable, normal guy to hang out
Yeah,
with,
yeah, and kind
Not
of.
that the other guy wasn't comfortable and totally normal too,
No,
not
no,
to.
I thought he was great, and he's got stuff named after him, and yeah, just a wonderful guy. But Provis has got the ability to, get casually get him into a conversation, and that's a little better. Although, thanks to Mackey and this station, look what we turned Perky into. Perky's great.
I know. Yeah.
Perky's great on the radio, great on TV. He's by far the best of them. And guess what he'd be doing? He'd be out there, fixing up the hockey rink for his daughters if it wasn't for us. So I think he should. Does he ever send you like a bouquet, a free gift certificate
No,
or anything?
it's been a minute since Glenn and I have hung out, but we've yeah, I think he was appreciative of being able. We get when he was an active player and he would be coming in
Yes.
studio and he would answer. He was always willing to answer like angry tweets from people when he'd blow a
Yes.
game or something.
Yes. Yes.
He doesn't take himself all that seriously. He's an awesome guy and he's an awesome analyst.
And
Yeah.
he's doing good. Yeah, he's really gotten rotten good, and he goes back from radio and TV, and he's much more successful getting involved in the conversation with Atterbury than the rest of them who let themselves be overwhelmed. But Perky just throws stuff in there.
Yeah.
Hey, I like Atterbury as a guy, but let's face it, it's the Atterbury show, and Perky kind of interrupts it and gets his stuff in there, and I kind
Welcome to
of
the Chris Atterbury Show here, featuring
the
snippets of a
Minnesota
Twins game.
Twins. Yeah, so, we're gonna fit in the Twins game here too. So anyway, Yes, hey, a little ball talk. We haven't done that for a while.
It's been a while. Well, yeah, the Timberwolves are making it harder for us to devote time to baseball here, but we'll see. Okay, real quick question. Do you think this extends back to Target Center?
No, I don't.
It's over tonight.
I don't see. I mean, they are good. They are just
They're
good.
really good.
They are. I mean, and when Holmgren's playing like, he's a freak. I mean, this is you. What you look at him, and the guy's 7'1", and he's shooting threes, and he's just he's incredible. He was terrible in game one. I mean, there's games that he doesn't dominate, but I don't know. It's there's 9 of them out there, and they got they got that Jalen Williams and Holmgren in the same draft, 2 and 12.
Yeah. They
That's
also have one of the top European prospects ready to join next year and 13 first-round picks in the next 7 years.
yeah,
And they're not even really paying, like some of these teams, the supermax veteran players that take up $60 million on your
yeah.
books. They don't have any of those guys. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander makes like $30 or $35 million a
They
year.
are 11 million under the real cap, not the first apron or the second apron, and they're 26th in the league in payroll. Now they're going to have to pay some guys here pretty
Right.
soon,
Yeah.
but they got most of them signed for. I looked up Holmgren's not till 28. I don't know. They're they're they're. I mean, this guy did an amazing job. They had Russell and they had all that guy and they had a real good team. And then they Durant and they couldn't get her quite done. And about 5 years ago, they said the hell with it and got rid of everybody and started all over again. And they've been an amazing. It's an amazing operation.
Yeah.
It really
And
is.
as someone pointed out, if it's a Pacers Thunder finals, it
Oh
would be
God.
two organizations that built their stash off trading Paul George.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And yet the dumbass 76ers brought him back for tens of millions of dollars at age 34, 35, knowing he'd get hurt.
Yeah.
What are you doing that for? But they'd also Phil and Declan 20. This is going to be, as we said the other day, this is going to be the 24th market versus the 28th market in the league. They're going to have the lowest ratings ever, and it's going to be great basketball.
It's going to be the best. If they close it out, it's going to be the best offense versus the best defense, I think, right? If you look at
but
the.
just incredible athletes on both
Mhm.
teams.
Mhm.
Indiana's good.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's going to give the Knicks a hard time, but Indiana's good. And as I said yesterday, when we're doing the final ode to Tibbs, and he didn't get fired this year, he'll get fired next year. The shot that Halliburton took that went 20 feet up in the air and came back down, that should be like the the what do we call it? The emoji or something.
It should be
The
Tibbs's
GIF.
face on that basketball bouncing
Yeah,
up in the
right.
air.
It's going like 12 feet up in the air, coming back down. I'm
Carl!
going, oh, I watch that and I scream, oh, Tibbs, jeez, unbelievable, unbelievable.
Poor guy.
It's one of the worst collapses ever. We're gonna survive. Thank God the ball comes back down from 14 feet in the air.
Switch!
All right, gents.
Oh, man. All right, Pat. We'll
See
catch
ya.
up with you
Thanks,
on
Pat.
Friday. See ya.
Yeah, bye.
All right, Reusse Unchained, Score North.